Share. Share. Gemini. Share. Gemini. Gemini is Google's family of large multimodal. Legal news update, February 16th, 2026. Disclaimer: this is not legal, medical, financial, or official advice. News is news, not legal, financial, or medical advice. Do not treat the following or any anecdotal stories as advice. Always consult qualified professionals for your personal situation. U.S. courts observe President's Day, key rulings and filings from last week linger. U.S. federal courts, along with many state courts and legal offices, were closed on Monday, February 16th, 2026, in observance of President's Day, Washington's birthday. No major new filings or decisions were reported today due to the holiday, but the legal landscape remains shaped by significant developments from the end of last week, February 12th to 13th, 2026. These include ongoing challenges to Trump administration policies, corporate liability verdicts, and regulatory rollbacks. Legal analysts expect a busy Tuesday as courts reopen, with potential motions in high-profile cases like the Trump defamation suit against the BBC and the criminal tax trial of Supreme Court lawyer Tom Goldstein. Market sentiment in legal sectors, such as law firm mergers and legal tech, reflects caution amid political shifts. For instance, tensions in the proposed Ashurst-Perkins Qua-Transatlantic merger highlight partner defections and ballot uncertainties, as reported in recent commentaries. Broader themes include increased scrutiny on AI and tech regulation, with states like Utah facing federal pressure on AI safety bills. Geopolitical influences continue to play a role. Renewed executive actions on emissions and mergers are drawing lawsuits, while international corruption cases, e.g., Ukraine's arrest of a former energy minister, underscore global compliance risks. Immigration enforcement: judge orders ICE to restore detainee lawyer access in Minnesota. A key ruling from late last week dominated immigration news. On February 12, 2026, U.S. District Judge Nancy Brazel in Minnesota found that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, had unlawfully blocked thousands of detainees from accessing their lawyers during Operation Metro Surge, a recent enforcement operation. The judge ordered ICE to immediately restore access, citing violations of due process rights. This decision came amid broader criticism of ICE tactics under the Trump administration, including anecdotal reports of agents facing public confrontations, e.g., viral videos of ICE interactions shared on social media. Malawiresmedia.com at Lukia found. Immigration advocates hailed the ruling as a check on overreach, while ICE defended its actions as necessary for security. Relatedly, journalist Don Lemon pleaded not guilty on February 13, 2026, to charges stemming from a protest at a Minnesota ICE facility, highlighting tensions between media, protesters, and enforcement. Legal experts predict appeals and potential class action suits, with implications for detainee rights nationwide. Reuters.com. Corporate liability and securities: J&J hit in talc trial, class actions loom. Corporate legal battles heated up with a Pennsylvania jury finding Johnson & Johnson liable on February 13, 2026, for cancer claims linked to its talc-based products. This marks another setback in the ongoing multi-district litigation, where J&J faces thousands of similar suits alleging asbestos contamination in baby powder. Damages were not specified in initial reports, but prior verdicts have reached hundreds of millions. Reuters.com. In securities news, the Rosen law firm reminded investors on February 16, 2026, of the March 9, 2026, lead plaintiff deadline in a class action against Veroni Systems Incorporated, NASDAQ. VRNS, alleging misleading statements between February 4, 2025 and October 28, 2025. Separately, a U.S. judge ruled on February 13, 2026, that J.P. Morgan Chase customers can sue over allegedly low interest rates on cash sweep accounts, potentially exposing the bank to significant payouts. Newsfilecorp.com Reuters.com. A federal judge in Texas blocked the FTC's expanded merger disclosure rule on February 12, 2026, deeming it beyond the agency's authority, a win for business groups amid antitrust scrutiny. This could slow high-profile mergers, including in tech and finance. Reuters.com. Supreme Court and judicial ethics. Goldstein trial continues. Judges allowed to push back on criticism. The criminal tax trial of prominent Supreme Court lawyer Tom Goldstein entered its testimony phase last week. On February 11 to 12, 2026, Goldstein admitted to mistakes but denied intentional tax crimes, testifying in his own defense. The case, involving alleged evasion on millions in income, has drawn attention for its implications on legal ethics and high-profile advocacy. Reuters.com. In a lighter vein, SCOTU's blog published a compilation of favorite Supreme Court quotes on February 16, 2026, highlighting memorable lines from justices past and present. More substantively, an ethics panel ruled on February 12, 2026, that U.S. judges may publicly respond to illegitimate criticism without violating conduct codes, amid rising political attacks on the judiciary. SCOTUSblog.com Reuters.com. Earlier in February, the Supreme Court allowed a pro-democratic voting map in California, February 4, 2026, and cleared the way for a redistricting referendum in Virginia, February 13, 2026, potentially shifting congressional seats. Reuters.com. Regulatory rollbacks and legislation. Trump admin targets emissions, AI bills. Environmental law saw major shifts with the Trump EPA revoking emissions limits for U.S. automakers on February 13, 2026, ending key climate regulations and vehicle standards. States like California are expected to sue, potentially leading to a patchwork of regulations. Reuters.com. In tech regulation, Trump reportedly urged Utah Republicans to gut a state AI safety bill, reported February 15, 2026, reflecting federal influence on local tech laws. Internationally, the UK announced a crackdown on social media and AI for child harmful content on February 16, 2026. jdsupra.cominforarem.org. The Trump administration also released $30 million in frozen funds for New York's Hudson Tunnel project on February 13, 2026, after lawsuits from states. In Minnesota, Republican leaders outlined 2026 priorities, focusing on government fraud and affordability. Reuters.com House.mn.gov. Other notable developments. Harvard lawsuit. The Trump administration sued Harvard on February 13, 2026, over noncompliance in a race-based admissions probe. Reuters.com. BBC defamation. A judge rejected the BBC's stay in Trump's suit over edited January 6 footage, February 12, 2026. Reuters.com. LSAT changes. The LSAT ended online testing due to cheating concerns, February 11, 2026. Reuters.com. Law firm news. Weber Wentzel spun off its legal tech arm amid AI demand, February 16, 2026. A former NJAG launched a new firm, February 12, 2026. Law.com Reuters.com. Michigan ruling. Deposition testimony alone can't deny uninsured motorist benefits if contradicted by evidence, February 16, 2026. MillerWiresWeekly.com. Wisconsin case. Reversal on personal jurisdiction under distinct legal person doctrine, February 16, 2026. WhislawJournal.com. International. Ukrainian authorities arrested a former energy minister for corruption, February 15, 2026. Chipper.com. Trademark. Taylor Swift sought to block Swift Home trademark, February 12, 2026. Reuters.com. Bottom line for February 16, 2026. With courts closed for the holiday, the focus remains on last week's flurry of rulings challenging executive power, corporate accountability, and regulatory changes. Expect renewed activity Tuesday, including potential escalations in Trump-related litigation and merger reviews. Broader themes include judicial pushback, AI/tech regulation, and immigration rights amid political divides. Video tags, YouTube optimized. Hashtag legal news, hashtag court cases, hashtag Supreme Court, hashtag immigration law, hashtag corporate liability, hashtag Trump administration, hashtag regulatory rollback, hashtag AI regulation, hashtag judicial ethics, hashtag February 2026, hashtag